Like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
Police treating suspicious Newtown fire as murder as death toll climbs to 3 by Sarah Keoghan, Megan Garay and Josh Dye. Updated March 15, 2022, 3.08 First published at 6.45 am. Save login, register or subscribe to save articles for later. Share normal text size, larger text size, very large text size. Police are treating a fatal boarding house fire in Sydney's inner west on Tuesday morning as murder, as the death toll rose to 3 and there are fears for a fourth person. Firefighters were called about 1 am to the two-level boarding house on the corner of Probert and Albemarle Streets in Newtown after reports it was alight following an explosion. A body was found inside the building on Tuesday morning while 2 more were found in the afternoon. Police said there were also serious concerns for a fourth person who was believed to have been inside at the time. The bodies are yet to be formally identified. Police are treating the blaze as suspicious after they found an accelerant at the scene. "We are treating this as a murder. We are treating this as a maliciously lit fire," Assistant Commissioner Peter Cotter said. "Without going into the scientific evidence so far, it would be fair to say that some type of accelerant has been used. Police are trying to get in contact with the building's owner." Credit, Nick Noir. 3 other people were taken to hospital, including one man in his 80s who remains in a critical condition at Royal North Shore Hospital. This man survived the fire by jumping out of a first-story window, suffering serious leg injuries. Police said he had a heart attack when he got to hospital. Police are trying to contact the building's owner and appealed for him to come forward, although he is not a suspect. There were at least 11 residents in the building, all aged between their 40s and 80s. The building's former caretaker, Ian Miniel, said the building had gone downhill since he moved out in 2018 and the tragedy was a disaster waiting to happen. He added that after recent downpours the kitchen ceiling had caved in, and you could see some electrical wires. Mr. Miniel, who lived at the building for about 15 years, said he rushed to the property after hearing about the fire on the radio on Tuesday morning. "I knew straight away that boarding house was it. Jesus," he said as he surveyed the damage from the street. A fire investigation team inside the burnt boarding house. Credit, Nick Noir. "It was a disaster waiting to happen. The outside is not too bad, but the inside is not too good." Mr. Miniel said the premises was registered for 12 boarders, most of whom were unemployed or pensioners aged over 40. "Plenty of people have been complaining about the property. Mostly about cockroaches and other little problems, and particularly that when it rained the roof leaked, and parts of the roof were falling in." Mr. Miniel was also worried about a friend of his, a man in his 70s, who lived in one of the rooms. "I'm so concerned. Part of his mattress was jutting out over his door and for him to get out, he'd have to squeeze out, and with smoke and fire, I'm not sure how possible it would be for him to get out of there," he said. Boarding house resident Craig Hopper fled his room on the first floor after he was woken by a massive bang. "I've never experienced a bomb going off, but bloody hell. Shit came down. It was bloody smoky, it was dense. I had to hold my breath and scooch down the stairs. I ran like a bejesus." Mr. Hopper saw the elderly man who had jumped out the window lying on the ground with his pants on fire. Another man, whose room was on the ground floor, was blown through the window by the force of the explosion. Mr. Hopper was drinking beer with another resident who escaped the blaze in a nearby park on Tuesday morning. He said he had complained about conditions at the building since he moved in 2 years ago. Residents had previously complained of overcrowding and damage to the ceiling of the building's shared kitchen. "It's shit. You can only complain so much. When you've got a landlord who doesn't listen, there's only so much you can do," he said. Newtown resident Bernie Godzik said the boarding house was well known among locals as it was opposite the Carlisle Castle Hotel. "It's a house of horrors. There's broken glass, exposed wires. It's disgusting, it's terrible," he said. 3 days ago I sat at the pub drinking a beer and I said, Something needs to be done. It was prophetic. But it's been like that for years. It's a death trap and everybody knew it. More than a dozen detectives arrived at the boarding house on Tuesday morning and began door-knocking neighbors about 9 a.m. A kitchen in the house. Before the fire in SW Police Acting Superintendent Van Acker defined the situation as very serious and dramatic. 1 a.m. in the morning. No doubt they were